Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Thanks for checking out the video. Today I've got a really interesting one, an interview with Henry McLuckie. Henry is an under 20, or he's 18 years old, athlete. He just recently ran a 13:56 on the track at the comeback 5,000 meters a couple of weeks ago. He's ranked as the ninth, that's the ninth fastest time this year over that distance of any age, and he's the fastest under 20 in the country at the moment this year. So we talked to Henry about his training, racing, how he got started, where he wants to go, where he wants to be, what he wants to do with his running, and talk a little bit about his routine and how he views it all, really. Someone that's such a fantastic talent at such a young age, and how he deals with that pressure, etc. I've put chapters on the video along the bottom when you're watching it, so you can skip through to various parts if you're more interested in one or the other. It seemed a shame to break the video or the interview up because it doesn't quite flow, so it's quite long, but come back to it in parts. Fantastic athlete, really interesting to talk to, so I hope you enjoy the video.
Hi, you alright?
Hello mate, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, got there in the end.
Yeah, hopefully it won't take like ages or whatever. I've got
No worries.
12 pages of questions. No. So we'll get to the comeback 5K a bit later on, but obviously massive PB for you.
Yeah, massive PB. Yeah, no, it was a good race. Just really happy to go under 14 for the first time. So
It must be absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. So we'll go back to the beginning then. So where did it all sort of start for you, running wise?
So obviously I did the sports days like you do in primary school. And I never really, I won a couple of them, came second in a couple of them, and never really pursued anything for a while. Was just playing football, playing tennis, doing my swimming, playing the odd bit of cricket every now and then. And then a couple of years later, when I first joined Christ the King, I did the Island Schools cross country there and came second. And then ever since then, I went to the athletics track at the Isle of Wight AC. And then it just sort of spiraled from there. I went over to Hampshire, just did Hampshire races for a while. And then it was one time I came second at a Hampshire cross country league. Yeah. And then it just sort of took off from there.
So what age was that? The sort of Hampshire.
So it would have been when I was about 12 or 13. So yeah, right, so just started high school. So I think I came second at Hampshire League in Basingstoke when I was about 13.
Right.
And then it's just taken off from there, really.
And was that
I never really.
Was that off the back of sort of not a lot of running? You sort of turned up to the Hampshire race and sort of finished second and thought, hang on a minute.
Yeah. So I was training like on a Monday night, a Wednesday night, and doing the odd bit on a Saturday. And then basically I was just playing football the rest of the time or playing tennis. So it was pretty much off of nothing. Which when I look back at it now, it's crazy to think like I couldn't do that now and get away with it. So And did you enjoy the football and the tennis and the swimming more than the running at the time? I was quite competitive at tennis. So I used to go over to Pompey. There's a tennis dome over there. It's like the Portsmouth Tennis Academy. So I used to go over there like every other day or whatever it was. And that was quite competitive, but it's obviously a very tough sport to make it in. So I was competitive at them, but football I was just basically like on the island playing, so that wasn't overly competitive. So the running obviously just when I started winning events over on the mainland, it just took off from there, really.
Oh, excellent. So in those early days then, when you'd won, maybe gone to the cross country and you'd done quite well, who was helping you out then? Obviously you went to athletics club, friends, family. Was there any coaching involved early on?
Yeah, so obviously when I first went over to the athletics clubs, it was Paul Simpson. I remember just turning up, and I turned up thinking we were going to run around the track, and we ran around the grass for an hour. So I just remember, obviously Paul wanted everyone to run cross country, so that was what happened. We all turned up on the track, and we ran on the grass. But so it sort of all stemmed from there. And until I was about 16, Paul helped me massively. I won numerous medals like across English schools, cross country, and a number of things under Paul. And yeah, the training at that age is perfect.
Yeah.
But it was just got to a point when I was 16 and just needed that little bit more progression, a little bit more mileage and stuff, and I just went our own ways. But yeah, no, Paul was amazing for me when I was junior. And I mean, not many people can say they've won English schools cross country, so that was a big thing for me.
Did he sort of say to you when you were with him, you know, look, there's something that you've got something there, there's the talent, and there's something inside of you that, you know, if you work at it, you know, you could be really good?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think obviously when you first start, it's sort of just like you turn it to the track and do the sessions, and that's sort of it. But when I started coming like top 3 at a Hampshire League, Paul was sort of like trying to like push to the side training plans for me and stuff like that. and then sort of it all just stemmed from there. So that was that was good. But yeah, no, definitely. I think Paul realised obviously when I first started going down, I had a lot of potential. Like you had people like Ben Holdsworth, James Haggerty, they were obviously very high up in Hampshire at the time.
Yeah.
And I sort of just turned up, and then slowly as time went on, I just sort of got closer and closer to them. And I remember Sam Metcalf, who's a couple of years above me. I used to go to the park runs and he used to smash me. By like a minute or more. And then just sort of, well, I've progressed so much now, so it's good to see.
I think you need that, you know, even as a young person, sometimes you do need that push by somebody to try and, you know, push you or guide you in the right direction.
Right direction, yeah, definitely.
Nowadays, well, there's a lot of pressure on not being too pushy as a coach or a parent, etc. But I think when some people show a real knack for something, I think it's quite nice to give them a little sort of shove in the back.
Yeah, I think especially on the island, it's quite like with sports, I think it's quite easy to get quite comfortable, just winning things on the island and stuff like that. So I think that is a big thing that possibly on the island they miss out on, is going up to wherever in Nottingham or wherever, just whether it be because of funding or whatever. But obviously that just brings you on so much. And that's been a big thing for me. I've been very lucky with the support I've had from my parents and stuff. From being able to go up to these meets, and that's just what's brought me on. Racing against seniors or whatever it be, that's just made me a better athlete.
I think that's a really good point across all sports. The Isle of Wight, I think it's kind of, you get in a big fish small pond syndrome. You know, for everybody in all kinds of, you know, swimming, football. You know, I played at half decent level at football, but on the island, you go across the mainland or compete at any sport, and actually the difference is quite big,
massive.
You can look really good on the island. I mean, you live on the island as well, and you can go to a local sort of race in the summer, and a lot of people that half decent can finish top 5, and then you go and run the Leeds Abbey Dash or something, and you'll be 250th place for the same time. So it's a different world, isn't it? So no, it's really good.
That is the thing.
So next thing, did you think that you would reach the level you got to so quickly? Sort of now, what are you just coming up to your 19th birthday, are you?
19th birthday, May the 3rd. Do I think that I always knew, obviously, when you're sort of like racing all around the UK and stuff, you know what times people are running and stuff. So I've always had like the goals of running these sort of times, but I didn't think it would actually happen. Like if you had told me when I was 16, when I won English schools cross country, that I'd run 13:56 2 years later, I would have said no, I wouldn't have. But I think it's all just because like progression in training, like it's just like the consistency and stuff I get now out of 85 mile weeks is just like so beneficial. And if I can do like my training, I literally do like 4 weeks on at 85, and then I do a down week in 50. And that just works well for me. So I think, I didn't expect to run this quick, this early, but I can't complain.
No, that's amazing. That's really good. It's that consistency that's the key, isn't it? For
definitely.
Even when you're new to running, people just starting, it's that if you can just, even if it's 20 miles a week or 30 miles a week, if you can just run consistently for a long period of time, you will see that progression. And you know, you can normally tell.
Definitely, if you find
go on.
If you find what's right for you, I think that's like, to some people react well with a 100-mile week, some people react well with 50-mile weeks.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
the Ingebrigtsens, for example, they don't run like anywhere near what the Africans run, but they're completely different types of athletes. Like the Africans don't do double speed session days, whereas the Ingebrigtsen do. So it's all different, all personal to the athlete.
Yeah, definitely. So what does a typical, you at uni when you're away, so what does a typical week look like with sort of uni training, strength and conditioning, you know, your diet, stuff like that? Is there areas that you could do loads better in? You know, are you really sort of focused on your training, smashing the sessions, but then your diet and your S&C is a little bit sort of...
Okay. Yeah. So I think when I first started uni, obviously with the pandemic and stuff, the S&C sort of slipped a little bit.
Yeah.
But I came home at Christmas, and I basically just rang Jake Brum at RMA, and they obviously sponsor me. And I pretty much said, like, I just need you to call me every Wednesday and Friday to make sure I do the S&C on a Zoom call. Just because I said to him, like, I'm just not going to do it otherwise.
Yeah.
And then pretty much since then, Wednesday and Friday, we've got endless videos of what I need to do every Wednesday and Friday, and I just do it.
Yeah, brilliant.
So I think that has picked up since I came back at Christmas. Obviously, I was here for about 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's the perfect time to do it. But in terms of like a schedule, so on a Monday, I just do a normal double run. So just do 6 or 7 miles in the morning, 4 or 5 in the evening. Then Tuesday, I've got the session, my group. We usually train on the track when we can, or in Bushy Park. So that's something a little bit more quicker, whether it be K reps or whatever. So you can pretty much run as fast as you would run on the track in Bushy Park. It's pretty much as fast as. And then I just do like a little double run in the evening, 4 miles. And on a Wednesday, I just do like a straight hour. So nothing too crazy. And then I have my S&C in the afternoon. So it's more, like a strength-based sort of thing there. And strength and stability, really. Thursday, just a normal double run. So same as Monday, really. Friday is a tempo session. So it can range from anything from a 3-mile tempo to 5 by 10 minutes off a minute, stuff like that, which is obviously big stuff. And then Saturday is just an easy day for me. So I just probably run like 4 miles or have a rest day.
Cool.
And then Sunday is my favorite day of the week, which is a long run day. So get out for like hour and a half, hour and 45. And then, but and I'll do another S&C stuff on Friday.
Cool.
So that's more stability based though. So it's stuff like knee raises and stuff like that. So it's all just making sure my form is, because one of the things that's probably been my weakness over the years is my form. So just as long as I can work on that, it's getting a lot better. But I just need to make sure I can hold it on the last lap of a race.
And I think it's important for obviously everyone. Obviously, I do a bit with Jake as well and stuff. But at your level, the difference maybe between that first, second, third, or top 5 place is going to be that, you know, you probably all smashing your training and got a similar ability, but actually that extra, you know, strength work and all that stuff could really, you know, like you say, holding it together on that last 300 meters for you could be the difference between you know, podium and not. So it's good. So with your down weeks, you'd probably lose the double run day, maybe just do a single run. So I lose the double run day, and then I just don't run as long on the Sunday. So I do 12 miles instead of 16. But then so the sessions obviously decrease in volume a little bit. So I wouldn't be running 5 by 10 minutes on a Friday. But so that's just the sort of thing it is. But obviously when you do go from 80 to 50 feels so easy. Like people speak to me and say 50 miles easy, and it's just like, it just feels so comfortable. Awesome. No, that's good. So obviously you started off, when you were younger, you were racing sort of shorter distances, obviously because of your age probably, and now you're sort of, what's your favorite distance now? Are you sort of aiming at the 5k, or is it 3k, or because obviously you've done a few different distances, what are you looking at?
I think the 5k is I'd say probably my best event.
Yeah.
Obviously, the 3K isn't a championship distance, so I don't want to like invest all my
No.
junior career in a 3K because
Yeah.
you can't do it at the big
Yeah.
champs. But I mean, people obviously I'd say I prefer the 5K, but people will probably say I'm better at the 1500.
Right. Okay.
But like I don't know. They're probably on par. But
Yeah.
obviously like this year, so obviously I've ran 13:56, which is like 29 seconds under the European junior standard.
Yeah.
So there's a race. So my junior trial, the European junior trials, is on the 12th of June. So
Right.
essentially all I have to do is win that race on the 12th of June, and that's my place selected for the 5,000.
Oh wow.
But it's okay. So I could also, if I run a quick 1500, I could also go and run the 1500
Right,
trial.
okay.
So it's quite a nice position to be in.
Yeah.
I ran well under the standard last year for the 1500. I just got to do it again.
Yeah.
But we'll just see what happens. It all comes down to what I'm ranked higher up in Europe in, which is what the one I'm going to focus on.
Yeah.
Like my 5K, I'm first by about 20 something seconds at the moment in Europe. Yeah, so we'll just see what happens. But yeah, the 5K is my favorite. It's what I want to pursue.
Yeah.
But whether it's my best event, I don't know.
I think a certain amount of that you have to want to do. You know, if you really love the 5K, I think sometimes you obviously, if you were miles better at the 1500, there's probably not a lot in it. So I think the athlete has to choose. You know, if you've got a real passion for 5K or 10K or whatever it would be. Obviously, so that's really good. So what do you find hardest about training during the week? Do you ever have any weeks where you find it mentally hard, or the time, just fitting it all in with uni, and obviously your training is really important because of the level you're at? Do you sort of ever get a week or days where you think, oh, I could just do without this today, or
Yeah, I think there's been occasions, I think I probably have fallen into a bit of a trap with uni work where I don't do it till the last minute. So then obviously that has a big impact on my running, because obviously if I'm staying up late to do a bit of coursework or whatever it is. But I think where I've got like Jeff Watkins, my coach, he has a group obviously on the island that he coaches. And then he also has a group in London where I'm based in Teddington.
Yeah.
And they come in from Ascot, other places. So I think they're a big part of my training.
Yeah.
They're all a lot older than me. They're 26 to 30. Clarkie's 30. And he's one of my main training partners. Like we do very similar things.
Yeah.
And without them, I think I probably would like skip the odd run and stuff. Yeah. But they're like Clarkie's. I don't know if many people will know him, but Adam Clark, he has been on like loads of training camps with Mo Farah leading up to the 2012 Olympics, 2016 Olympics. So he's got bags and bags of experience. Yeah. And he's also, his girlfriend is Charlotte Purdue, the marathon runner. So she's ran 2:25. So he just brings a lot of experience to the table. And like we're really good mates as well. So yeah, I think they're a big, they have a big impact on my training and making sure I get out the door. And also, I live in a house full of athletes, just off of the uni campus. So obviously, we all sort of do the same thing. So it's quite nice that if one person's going for a run, we can jump in with each other. And if you don't run, they're going to be telling people you're not running. So you got to.
But I think it's so important for surrounding yourself in the right environment. Like you've already said, obviously if you didn't have that group to train with, how much harder that would be to, especially during your sessions. I mean, doing some of those sessions you talk about on your own would be near impossible at times because of, when it's dark and it's cold and all that other stuff. So I think that's important, and it helps you, like you say, stay on track, and the experience from those guys, they know how important nutrition and rest, recovery, sleep and all that, because that all leads to performance for you. You one of those lapses, then performance, it tends to kind of fall, doesn't it? If you're not sleeping properly, you can't train properly, and then when you race, it's something's off. So I think that's it's really lucky. And obviously when you come back to the island, having a nice-ish group you're running away from everyone now at the track. That's the problem.
No, it is, but that's the thing. Like on the island, I can be so consistent, but not necessarily get that little finishing touch on sessions. Obviously, it's a bit harder where I'm not being pushed. But when I look at it, like I spent 3 months here from Christmas to March, and I was where I was so consistent with training, and then I literally just went into Teddington for 3 weeks, and just did those finishing touches, and then bang, I can run 30:56. So it's either way, it's obviously I can get consistent training in, but it's just that extra little bit in Teddington with the boys that I can get out of sessions, etc. That make the difference. So.
So how does it feel? I've seen some of your Instagram posts when there's Mo Farah couple behind you on the track and you're running around. I mean, how does that feel in your, do you think,
oh, it's crazy.
I can't believe it, or do you just think, well, I'm just going to put a few meters into him and show him who's boss?
Yeah. So obviously everyone knows Mo Farah, four-time Olympic gold medalist. So Clarkey obviously is good mates with him. So he didn't actually tell me before the session. Like I just turned up. Alex gave me a lift, and we turned up to the track. And then Clarkey was like, "Oh, he had a birthday cake because it was Mo Farah's birthday on that day."
Yeah.
And then he said, "Oh, I got a special guest trainer with us today." And I was like, as soon as I saw the birthday cake, I knew it was going to be him. And then like he came around the corner and there's like 300 grand Bentley.
Yeah.
And then we just did a session. But the funniest thing is, like, he did one of Jeff's sessions, like the session that was set, he did it. And he was supposed to do something extra at the end, but he was too tired. So but no, I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, we were taking a rep each, and it's just amazing. But like running behind him, it's just a bit of a buzz.
I can imagine.
Just to think that some of the stuff he's done is just insane. He's got a very like loping stride, so it's hard to run behind. But
quite deceiving, isn't it? When you
it's very deceiving.
He doesn't look like he's moving that quickly.
No, like obviously I'm a runner. My legs are skinny and stuff, but like his legs are just a whole different level of skinniness. It's just crazy. Like his legs are half the size of mine, but it is amazing how they do it.
Great experience though to just be on with all of those people at that level, like you said,
definitely
such a help.
And that's what's helped me progress the most. It's just mixing in with the big guys, really.
Definitely. So what would you say is your biggest achievement to date?
Well, running 13:56 was a big achievement for me, but
because you've won, you've won a lot of races, and
So I think I worked it out the other day. I think I've won a medal at every single national champs other than English schools track.
Right.
So every single national championships there's been, I've won a medal at.
Yeah.
So I think probably the best one would probably have to be mini marathon, when I won this morning at the London Marathon.
Yeah.
It's also like the British 3 mile championships. Like winning that was obviously like you finished down the mile. That was amazing. But also like Westminster Mile, you finish in front of Buckingham Palace. That was another amazing one. So them ones are probably the best ones. I think there's a lot more to come. So
and I think we've been robbed of that kind of feeling over the last year, haven't we? With obviously the pandemic and everything, there's something about racing, even at any level, with crowds and people watching and your friends and family or whatever, than the closed races and sort of staggered starts and stuff like that. It does take it slightly.
Mum doesn't really watch anyway. She's usually having a heart attack. She's too scared that I'm gonna mess it up or something. But I remember for mini marathon, obviously everyone wears the same t-shirts, but it has your region on it. So mine said Southeast. And I'm coming around the corner, and the commentator was calling me by a different name. So, but my mum and dad were adamant that it was me. So, but they didn't want to be too overconfident. And they spent like an hour after my race, because obviously you go off into like the medal ceremony or whatever. And my mum and dad spent about an hour trying to find out whether it was me who won or not. So they didn't even know who won. But obviously she just gets so nervous. But obviously they put a lot into it as well. But
definitely.
So it's exciting. That feeling of winning is good.
So actually moving on from that then, so how do you deal with the pressure, or do you have any kind of superstitions or lucky charms? Obviously, a lot of races you probably go in thinking, you know, I'm the favourite here, or I'm should be
I wish.
podium. Yeah, no, or
Yeah.
you know, I should be, you know, especially if the you know, some of the English school stuff and you know some of the local races that, you know, I mean, we did Victory 5 a couple of years ago, and you know, races that you go to that are local, that the standards may be, you know, you're going to be right at the front. How do you put a
Yeah.
lot of pressure on yourself to do well?
I think that's one of the biggest things that I've probably progressed. Like when I was younger, like when I was 16 or whatever, I was getting so nervous at these races and thinking about what other people are doing or whatever,
Yeah.
looking at people's training. But now I don't really care.
Yeah.
I just sort of do my own thing. So I do put pressure on myself because I know what I can do and I know what I want to do. So in terms of that, I do put pressure on myself. Leading into races, I just sort of try and keep a normal routine. Like on a race day, if it's in the evening, I get up, I do like a 10-minute shakeout, get my body woken up. I eat the same things every time, and I make sure I get a good nap in the day.
Yeah.
But in terms of superstitions, a big one is magpies.
Right.
If you see a lot of magpies and you've got to salute them all,
Right.
that's good luck. Like even when the day I trained with Farah on the track, going to the track, I saw about 10 magpies, and it's just like my mum's the same. Like when I won English schools cross country, she saw loads of magpies. I saw loads of magpies, so I think that's a big superstition of mine.
Yeah. Oh, excellent.
Yeah, but I think another thing me and Jeff have discussed over the years is like it's better to be 100% healthy than 100% fit. So like I'd rather be 100% healthy, 95% fit, and that will get me through it. Obviously, like when obviously you're doing big weeks and stuff, you're so susceptible to getting ill. So yeah, I think that's one of the big things, being 100% healthy all the time. Is obviously what you need to be. But yeah, I'd rather be that than 100% fit.
Yeah.
But obviously it helps when you're 100% of both.
Yeah, it does.
So,
I think that's a really, you know, it's really important because a lot of people can maybe be too much and then they're not healthy. And actually, it doesn't matter how fit you are. If, like you say, if you're only 70% healthy and you've been smashing all these sessions, you're not actually going to race and perform that well. So that balance is massively important. The most important thing with running is performing on the day of race day. I know people who smash every session, but it's no good if you turn up and you're 10 seconds behind the winner. Yeah, lots of people train really well and then race really poor or not really poor.
Yeah.
If you look at their training and you go, oh my God, he's in amazing shape, and then you see him race and you go, well, what's happened there? Where's that gone? So
that's the big thing with running is it's peaks and troughs. Like I know cross country season, like one day you race so well, one day you race awful, but it's nothing. I don't even think that cross country is anything to do with fitness. I think like it's just so up and down. Like it depends on so many factors. Like there's some boys who I would beat by 20 seconds on a flat course, but then when it gets to a hilly course, they would annihilate me by 20 seconds. So it's running. You're not going to run well every race, but that's the nice thing about. I know the pandemic isn't great, but in terms of the sort of lack of races means that you can make sure you can perform on those days of races. I know that they're coming around quick and fast now, but I mean to perform on the race days that are like once a month is a lot easier to perform than every week at a cross country or every week at a little track race.
So with Jeff, obviously in your coaching, does he input everything for that week? Does he ever say on, he obviously might just say, I'll do an easy run in the evening, but he'll sort of let you know the full 7 days or the couple of weeks ahead or whatever.
So I think where me and Jeff have a very good relationship in terms of we call on the phone every day. He knows what I do on my easy days. He knows what I do on my long runs. So it's mainly the sessions really that we actually discuss. Like we don't use training peaks or anything like that. It's very old school. Jeff, he's very old school. He's what I think he's 70 71 now, something like that. It's all very old school. He doesn't tell me the sessions till the day before.
No, that's good.
And just keep. I think it's a big part of how much I've progressed is just that good relationship between me and him, and just I have like a set routine, and that's that, and we don't change much very often. Some weeks he surprises me with crazy sessions that we don't ever think we're going to do. But yeah, it works really well, so I wouldn't change it at all.
No, I think that's a really important part for coach-athlete relationship. You've got to really trust the person that's setting your training, and not sort of be thinking, oh, I'm not sure about that. And them to actually set those sessions where you'd go, oh my God, I'd never do that. If I had to pick a session, and pushing you and trying to find your limits and your boundaries to try and drive that performance on. So it's a great thing.
No, definitely. Yeah, I think things like training peaks and stuff are great. But I think you can't beat the old fashioned sort of techniques that Jeff uses. I know there's there's a list of people who have asked the Teddington group that if they can be coached by Jeff. There's so many people. Obviously, Jeff, it's great for Jeff because he's got the people on the island that he coaches, and then he's got a really small group in Teddington that he can put a lot of focus on. And it just works so well.
It's really good, and his results speak for themselves about how good he is as a coach as well. So I mean, that's
definitely
what makes a good coach. The proof is in the pudding. It's and his stuff works, and he's got some amazing athletes. So no, it's brilliant. So back to racing again. Is there any races you wish you'd done something differently, as in maybe tactically, or you've maybe run it wrong, or you've tried to race somebody and not is there any sort of big races where you've thought, oh, I could have had that? Or
there's been a couple of times, like 2019. So I had the European Junior standard. The standard was 8:20. I ran 8:17. I was third on the rankings. I knew that the boy that was in first was going to run the 1500. So I didn't have to worry about him, and all I had to do was perform at the trial. I was there with 800 to go, and just absolutely wheels fell off last two laps, and I think I ran like a 90-second last lap. I pretty much walked across the line, and I remember looking back at that and thinking, like, I was just so close to making the team. And it was I actually found I went to Gibraltar for the Island Games. We were gonna do the 1500 and the 5K, but then we didn't get a phone call from British Athletics to say whether I was on the team or not.
Right.
And the day of the 5000, we got a phone call saying I was first reserve, and I remember just thinking, why did I mess that trial up? Like, it was so easy for me to do. But obviously, in hindsight, it's so easy to say. But there's been like that race the other day. I probably, when I look back at it and I've watched it a number of times, I probably shouldn't have taken it on with 4 laps to go. But I mean, that's racing. I mean, there's not many people my age that would take that on with 4 laps to go, especially when you look around you. You've got Phil Norman, who's ran the world standard for steeplechase. He's probably going to go to the Olympics this year. Clarkey, obviously. So I think I don't ever regret anything. But there are 9 times out of 10, probably there is a lot of things I could do a lot differently. But I've got away with some before, like English schools cross country. I was winning by about 100 meters at one point, and like the gap was so big. I knew I was never going to lose it, just because like the adrenaline race mentality. When you're coming into the finish, you're never going to lose that race unless it all goes wrong. And the gap was getting smaller, but I got away with it. So
and I think you learn from that. All the times you try something different, or maybe don't do something. I think that's an experience, especially you being young as well. As you go forward, you'll learn from every time something positive works for you, or something that you think, actually, I'll do that differently. So it's all an experience in your career, going forward.
Definitely,
all of the guys have using those type of experiences as they go forward.
Oh, definitely. That's the thing. Like, no one remembers no one will remember in 10 years' time what I did when I was a junior.
No.
Everyone's going to remember what I do in 10 years' time.
Exactly.
So, like, there's been so many athletes that have like signed Nike deals at 15 years old, and now they're not even running. So there's so many things like that. Or they were winning world juniors at 17, and now they can't. But it's all running. You've got to be very lucky. Running, like injuries, you've got to be so lucky with injuries. Like I know so many people that have just struggled, and it's just so unfortunate because like you're great as a kid, but the main thing is with the running, you've got to progress it to a senior. So hopefully I'm going to be one of those lucky ones, touch wood. But yeah, it is so tough to make it.
Yeah, I think you can have, for across all sports, not just running, but I think you can have success too early, possibly as a kid. Like we've all seen footballers that are 14, 15, 16 are amazing, and then they never really hit those heights that they look like we get to. And the same with a lot of sports, but I think the pressure and the
doing too much too early I think is so common now in sport, especially in the UK. But even in America, like these American unis, like people go over from the UK having run 40 miles a week for the last year of their life, and then they're straight on 100-mile weeks at altitude in America. It doesn't work. It's not how it works. And I think where obviously I know I was coming like up at the top of Hampshire leagues and stuff when I was a junior, but I was training 3 times a week, so it wasn't jeopardizing.
And you weren't sort of already, you weren't sort of fed up with it at 16 already.
No,
you've been running like miles a week for 5 years, and you were thinking, "Oh God, I don't want to do it anymore."
Yeah, but even English schools, I won English schools off of like 40 miles a week. So it just shows as a junior, it really doesn't matter.
No,
I remember I came 150th at the British Cross Country Championships the year before I won English schools. So I went 150th to first. So it doesn't make a difference when you're a junior. I think you just got to enjoy it till you get to a certain age, and then if you want to do running, if you want to do football, then you've got to pick. But
exactly. I think you're totally right. You can do too much too soon, and it almost blows you out before you get to an age where it matters.
Yeah, definitely. So, that's the thing. Yeah.
So short-term goals for you in the next sort of year, 2 years, what are the big ones?
So obviously this year I've got the European Juniors and the World Juniors. European Juniors is in Estonia on the 15th of July, and World Juniors is in Nairobi in Kenya.
Wow.
On the 18th of August, which is at altitude. So awesome. I don't want to do a 5K there.
No.
not against the Kenyans. But so that's obviously looking in the next few months. I think next year Birmingham's hosting the Commonwealth Games.
Wow.
So I mean, I'd be looking to try and run the times or whatever. But obviously you've got a lot of great seniors that are in front of me. But who knows what can happen in a year, to be honest.
And you're knocking on the door now,
Exactly. So I think the standard for the 5K is probably around 13:30, something like that. So I'm not that far away when you look at it. And I think I'd be more than happy if I just run some big PBs for the next year or so. Looking forward, signing a professional contract is obviously a big thing, and that's something that I'm looking at the moment. So hopefully in the next year or so we get something signed with a company.
That'll be a huge help, for you, isn't it?
Massively.
Because, especially going forward, it just takes another added financial pressure off you and gives you support in ways as well. So
so I recently signed with an agent called Dave Scott. So he works for a company called Stella. So they've got agencies in most sports like American football, everything. So working with him closely, he's helping getting me into some races in Europe, hopefully this year, all COVID dependent. And then so he will then hopefully have a good season, win some medals, and then hopefully we'll sign a contract with someone. So that's the plan. Yeah, hopefully, So I don't know if I'll look at any other brands. So has to be Nike. No. But
So obviously that's short term. What about long term, 5-10 years? I mean, what's the dream? Maybe something that you just think what would be the sort of pinnacle for you? Olympics.
Obviously. I think the Olympics is obviously the pinnacle of our sport. I think obviously to make the Olympics is amazing. The standard just gets quicker and quicker every year, though. I think the standard this year is like 13:11 or something like that. But in 4 years' time, obviously, that would be a big goal of mine. But to be honest, like just to be at a major senior champs, even if it was European seniors, is a big thing for me. Yeah, and just mixing it in with the best guys in Europe, best guys obviously in the world. Just got so many Kenyans, so much depth.
Yeah.
In endurance running, but yeah, in Europe, I'd really want to mix it in with Europe. Hopefully join like a pro group or something.
Yeah.
That's what I want. That's what I want to do. Like, there's so many groups out in America that be my dream to join. Like you got the Oregon Track Club, the one that's coached by Mark Rowland. You've got Bauman Track Club. So yeah, I think that's obviously everyone's dream, is to go out there and just live full time.
Yeah, and train and be an athlete.
Yeah, so I think that's probably my biggest goal. But yeah, just win some big things, I guess.
No, it's good, and I think you've got to, it's really important to have that drive and that dream and that ambition, because otherwise you can't get to those heights if you don't have that ambition to keep training.
Yeah, I think runners have very strange. I have a very strange mentality. I think people look at me if I say I want to go and get picked for a pro group, like your general person would think like, what why would you want to do that? Why would you want to move to America, or why would you want to just be a runner full time? But I think it's just I have a different mindset on everything. That's just running based, and it just drives me more and more. Like the other day, I ran 1 second off the world junior standard, which obviously is gutting. But like, in terms of that pushing me forward to want to go and run the standard, it probably helps me. Like I know now that I need to run that 1 second, and I know that 1 second is nothing. It's literally just like a click of the fingers. So that almost drives me forward, even though I didn't get it. I know I can get that, and I know that I will probably go and get it now. So it's
no, awesome. No. And the last song was just wanted you to talk through the 13:56. I mean, when you lined up, were you thinking, I'm going sub 14 today, or I just want to mix it with this guy, and then how did the race pan out? And
so I wasn't going there to beat anyone or anything like that. I think there was a lot of talented guys in there. There was a guy called Rory Leonard, who's a year above me. I beat him a few times last season, but he's obviously a very talented runner. So I think I went into the race more for the time. I knew that we were supposed to go through 3K in 8:15, which is my PB, but obviously I could run a lot quicker. But we went through in 8:22, so I sort of knew that it was sort of slowing a little bit. I knew the big thing about 5K on the track, if you haven't run one, is the mentality of it. You've got to get to 3K feeling good. Otherwise, there's no point in running past 3K, basically, because you're just holding on otherwise. So Jeff had discussed to sit in, go with a pace, let the older ones do their jobs, and got to 4 laps to go, and the older ones weren't doing their job. So I thought, I'm going to take this on. So I took it on. I think we ran like a 65, a 66, a 66, a 66. And I knew that they were going to be stronger than me, because Adam's 12 years older than me, and I train with him every day. I know how strong he is. So I knew that last lap, it was going to be hard for me to hang on. But yeah, I knew I had to put myself there, put myself in attention, because I don't know if you watched the race, but it split up so quickly. Like there was 2 packs within a lap and a half. So if I had got myself caught in that second pack, like I would have ran 14:20 or something, and it's just not worth me doing. So I mean, I had to commit early on, obviously. And that last lap, I knew they were going to come past me, and I was just trying to do all I could to try and sort of stay with them. I mean, I ran the same. It might have looked like I was dying, and I was, but I ran 66 seconds for the last lap, which is what I ran for the whole race. So I didn't slow down necessarily. It's just the fact that they got quicker. Like when you had Phil Norman, who won, he closed in 56. That's 10 seconds difference. Which people might think, oh, how did he do that to Henry? But that's 12 years of experience, 12 years of strength.
Exactly.
So I think, I went in trying to run the time. I ran 29 seconds under the Euro standards. And yeah, I was only 1 second off the world standard, so I can't really complain from that sense. But because I didn't run that 1 second, no one's really talking about the fact that I went 29 seconds under the Euro standard. But that's all right.
No,
We'll shock them when I win something. So
yeah, definitely. No, but,
yeah, but yeah, no, it's all is good. And yeah, no, yeah, I've got a lot of people helping me and stuff. Obviously, like Jake at RMA, mum, dad have been a big help to me, and obviously Jeff's a huge help. I've got a couple of people at St Mary's. But yeah, it's not possible without them really. Right. And like I've got the council funding from Wight, and yeah, just loads of contributing factors that make it all
definitely
possible. So it's really good.
You sound like you love what you do and you're enjoying the journey as well. So oh yeah,
the best thing about running is the journey.
Exactly.
Like I always, when I was 16, I had the dreams of going to America, because as soon as I started winning your schools and stuff, you get so many uni coaches from America messaging you or emailing you. Like I think I must have had about 25 people from all these different unis, like Michigan, loads of places. And that was my dream, to go to America. But yeah, as soon as I joined Jeff, I knew all along that Jeff coached Clarkie. And like Clarkie's someone that I followed on Instagram, saw what he was doing, and like obviously training. When you look and see someone training with Farah, you're a bit like, whoa. But yeah, so the journey for me from the islands, I wasn't ever going to go to St Mary's. I had no thought to go to St Mary's. It was either going to be somewhere like Loughborough or somewhere like that. And I ended up at St Mary's, and it's probably the best thing I've ever done. So
brilliant. For
no worries.
Doing it. And
absolutely no problem.
Yeah, no, it's been really good actually. Really interesting as well. Like, someone like that we'll follow you from the island, and a lot of people ran against you when you were a bit younger, and not quite as fast, even still very fast, but everyone
used to beat me at a park run. That's what I know. But Stuart Backhouse.
Yeah, Stewie. He loves it, doesn't he?
And
all I get from my two girls a lot is every time I ran against you anywhere, or even when we did Victory 5, they went, "I can't believe Henry beat you. He's only like 17." And I'm like, "Yeah, but he's like the best in the country." But you're much older than him. I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
It only works like that when you're Mo Farah. If you're 39 and Mo Farah, you can beat a lot of 17-year-olds.
So brilliant.
No problem.
Thanks ever so much, mate. And cool. I'll give you a call anyway. Cheers, Henry.
No problem. Right,
thanks,
cheers.
Mate.
Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Really interesting to talk to somebody that's got that much potential and that much ability already. Probably 99% of us that watch the interview or talk to someone like Henry will never ever get to that level. So really interesting to hear it through his eyes at such a young age. And I wish him all the best, and I'm sure he's going to go on and do some great things with his personality and attitude and commitment. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See you later.